Hello, everyone. So I hope everybody has been keeping safe and well during this circuit breaker period. And I believe a lot of us, or some of us, might be slowly moving back to the office for work after this period ends. And therefore, today we're here to share on the advisory by the Ministry of Manpower on the requirements for safe management measures at workplaces. So what employers should do is to first implement a system of safe management measures, and this would include having a detailed monitoring plan to ensure the compliance with these measures, as well as to ensure that any issues that may arise can be rectified in a timely manner. Companies should also appoint a safe management officer whose task is basically listed here. Firstly, to coordinate the implementation of safe management measures, which will, of course, include the identification of the risk involved, recommend and also assist in implementing the measures, and with measures that are in place, these SMOs should also communicate it to all the personnel working in the premises. SMOs are also should also be conducting regular inspections and checks to ensure that any non-compliance will be reported, documented, as well as rectified in a timely manner. And of course, for all the checks that are conducted, as well as the corrective actions that are taken, these SMOs should also keep a record of them so that they can be made available to government inspectors upon request. Next is on reducing physical interaction and ensuring safe distancing. So most of us are already telecommunicating from home. So employers should are encouraged to continue to allow their employees to do so where possible, to leverage on technologies like Zoom and various other online platforms to ensure business continuity as well as safe management of everyone's health. So as we all also know, the government is giving various technology grants. So to encourage employers to do so, they can also leverage on these grants to allow employees to continue working from home. And for meetings, whether it's internal or external, where possible, employers are encouraged to continue utilizing teleconferencing facilities, and activities such as seminars, exhibitions, where there will be close, prolonged contact. This should be cancelled or deferred to a later period. And special attention should be paid to vulnerable employees like pregnant ladies or older employees or employees with health issues, to allow them to continue to work from home so as to minimize the risk. And employers should also constantly remind their staffs to avoid socializing with colleagues. So basically, congregation in groups in common areas are not advised, and any social gatherings, whether it's during work or after work, even during lunch, should be cancelled or deferred. So for employees who are unable to work from home, then employers are encouraged to continue with the staggered work and break hours, so that this will basically reduce the risk of the transmission of the disease, and because there's lesser congregation of the groups. So other than that, companies can also continue with the split team arrangement or shift arrangement. So, and there must be no cross deployment or interaction between employees in different shifts, teams, or work sites. So in the event that cross deployment cannot be avoided, right, then companies need to sit down and think about what other additional safeguards can be taken to minimize the risk of cross infection. So one would be like what I said earlier, to stagger the work hours. Another one could be through the different entrances and exits for staffs, so that the employees from different shifts and teams will not meet each other. Then there is also the minimized need for, companies should also try and minimize the need for physical touch points, but of course this may not be possible. So in the event that it's not possible, such physical touch points must be cleaned and disinfected regularly. Also on the physical spacing of 1 meter, they should continue to be in place, and of course clear demarcation of such spacing must be in place so that people are aware. So if there are any, if there's really a critical need for physical meetings, then employers need to make sure that it is communicated to employees that the number of attendees should be limited and that the duration should not exceed a certain a period of time. And employers with frontline or customer-facing operations should adopt queue management measures that is recommended by Enterprise Singapore. So these are things that we are already doing. The 1 meter spacing, or some places like when you go grocery shopping, you would have noticed that the elderlies will have a specific time that they can go. So basically for frontline and customer-facing operations, employers should look into all these queue management measures so as to protect their own employees, as well as, of course, customers. And lastly, of course, with this physical, this safe distancing measures in place, it is also important to monitor it regularly and to make sure that it's being enforced. And so this could be done through technology, through the CCTV, to make sure that these are all done correctly. Employers should also support the contact tracing requirements. So they should encourage their employees to download and activate the Trace Together app. And access to workplace should only be provided to essential employees and also to authorized visitors. So now a lot of places are already using the Safe Entry Visitor Management System to record entry of all personnel entering the place. So it could be, you would have known, you probably have seen it in most places now, is through NRIC or QR code. So businesses, before resuming their activities, they should register for the safe entry through the link that you see here, this one. Okay, and to see a full list of workplaces where safe entry must be deployed, you can also go into the link that you see here. Next is on personal protective equipment and good personal hygiene. This we can emphasize more, is to make sure that you practice good personal hygiene, like washing your hands regularly and refraining from touching your face. And also, when you have employees going back to work, employers have to ensure that there is sufficient mask, and employees should be wearing it at all times. And for example, if you have an employee who has to change due to work issues, they would have to change their mask 2 or 3 times a day. Employers have to take that into consideration and ensure that there is sufficient mask to be deployed. Workplace premises cleanliness. The cleaning should be stepped up. There should be regular cleaning of common areas. Rooms should be regularly cleaned and disinfected in between meetings. And if there's any machinery and equipment that are shared among employees from different shifts, they have to be cleaned and disinfected before changing of hands. And of course, cleaning and disinfecting agents need to be provided in areas like toilets, hand wash stations, lifts, corridors. Yeah. So, and if you would like to look into more details of the sanitation and hygiene advisories given for each specific industry, you can also go into the link here to have a better idea of what to do. Health checks and protocols. This is to manage potential cases. So regular temperature screening has to be taken twice a day and recorded. And for any visitors that visit the office, they would have to declare their travel history or their medical history, or if they have any respiratory symptoms. And employers will have to keep this declaration records for at least 28 days for inspection purposes. Employees should also be encouraged not to clinic hop. So if you visit one doctor, go back to the same doctor. And once they have visited a doctor, they should submit the MC and any of the diagnosis that is provided, whether you have been diagnosed with COVID or not. And if you are provided with an MC, you should go home, and employers should ask them to closely monitor their health for the period of the MC, and then to make sure that they are good before they return to the workplace after the MC period. And if there are any other employees who are in close contacts with employees who are on MCs, they should also monitor their health more regularly. So if they are unwell or suspected cases, it is important to establish an evacuation plan. So once you're unwell, you should report to your employer, leave the workplace, and consult a doctor immediately. And employers who have employees reporting to them, they should record and track these cases. And for any individuals who are unconscious or incapacitated, the employers must then clear the area and administer aid immediately, as well as, of course, to call an ambulance and to bring them to the hospital immediately. As for confirmed cases, important for employers to establish a follow-up plan. Basically, once there's a confirmed case, you should immediately vacate, cordon off the immediate section, and also carry out the cleaning and disinfecting of the relevant site areas that's been exposed to the confirmed cases. So of course, travel advisory from MOH, it is important to follow this and adhere to this advisory. So any work-related or non-essential travel plans should be deferred to all countries. And if any of the work travel plans are unavoidable, then employers may be expected to provide additional paid leave to cover any of these scenarios listed here. And for non-work related and non-essential travel, so let's say you've been encouraged not to, but you still have to make your own personal travel trips, then employers may require you to use your own annual leave entitlements, or let you take advance leave, or even ask you to take no pay leave. So in conclusion, employers must must ensure that all these measures are in place and are communicated to employees before resuming work. And signs should be put up to remind them, and as well as visitors, to observe all the measures that are in place. So before resuming any of your business activities, employers are encouraged to go to this link here to look at the checklist of the safe management measures, so that you tick off most of the items to make sure that the place is safe for business activities before you resume workplace activities. So that's all I have for everyone. Hope everyone continue to stay safe and stay positive.